Welcome to Real Kiwi Fishing. This week I'm on a solo in the little left sea today. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try and target some kingfish. It's a little bit early in the season, but I was actually here about a month ago and I caught a kahawai, and when I let it go, it sort of swam off slowly, and as I was baiting up I heard this big whoosh, this big sound of water. I turned around and I saw a couple of big swirls, and I thought, oh, it must have been a big shark. And then I kept baiting up and I heard it again, and I looked back and it was actually a big kingfish. Saw the big yellowtail out of the water, and it was sort of turning on the spot. Must have been sort of trying to swallow it down that kahawai that I dropped in. So yeah, today I thought I'd come out and I'll have a shot to see if they're still here. So I'm just sort of gearing up the burley. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run a burley on the bottom, near the bottom, and one at the top. I'm going to run 2 lines today, and I'm going to have one on a sinker and one on a balloon, and that'll just give me the top area and the bottom area. And I'll try and get some yellowtail for the bottom one that I'm going to drop to the bottom. That's just in case John Dory turns up or something like that as well. They'll take a yellowtail. A little bit too hard to swallow a big kahawai. So yeah, today the plan is to hopefully get a couple of kingfish swimming around the boat at least to see if they're here, and hopefully hook up and hopefully enjoy. So I've got my burley set, got my burley in the standard little red bag there, but also got the heavy duty. I like to pump it, and normally when you've got it in that little red bag it sort of tears sometimes. And I'm running my homemade burley rope. Basically it's just a couple of old dive weights. Got a couple of clips, straight one to the bag, one to the rope, so that's just an easy release. Just if I got to release the burley, I can release it there or down here on the other clip. Got about maybe 10 meters of rope, so I'll drop that one to the bottom and hopefully get a few yellowtail turning up first, and get one of those down. So the burley's hit the bottom. Just going to pull it up just off the bottom. Don't want it like getting snagged up in amongst the foul. What I've done is I've come in close to the shore. Got a little bit of a offshore wind today, so I want to stay in that shelter. But you want to find that weed line, so I've come off the sand, just where it starts hitting the rough, and that's where I'm going to sit for the day and hopefully get a few kings turn up for me. So let's hit the bottom. And I'm just going to pull it up maybe a meter and a half and tie it off. And that's the bottom one set. I'm just going to set up my top burley. Just going to have it in the red bag. Good thing is I can grab the bag and scruffle it around a bit, get that burley pumping so it won't rip on me. It's got a little bit of a rope here. It's only about a meter and a half long. That's pretty much it, ready to go. I'll just tie that off the back, and that just will help maybe piper turn up. Piper like sort of feeding on that surface, so I'll hopefully get a bit of piper action as well, and kingfish love piper, so this will help. So I've got my top burley set. Like I was saying, I can just grab down here, give it a shake around, and hopefully I'll get some piper turning up on the surface. Now I've come up with a new way to run my balloon. Normally when you're live baiting with a balloon, you catch the fish, breaks the cotton or your string, and your balloon sort of floats off and it just adds to the pollution in the water. So what I've done is I've made it so the balloon is tied to a swivel, and then my swivel is cottoned to the main swivel of my line, and that'll run down to my hook. Now once a fish bites, pulls and grabs, that cotton will break and my balloon will then slide up my main line, and it'll stay with my main line because my main line's through that eye of the swivel. So the good thing is you're not sort of battling against the balloon. I know when you tie it sometimes real tight so the balloon doesn't drift off, you're sort of battling against the drag of the balloon when you're fighting a fish. So my theory is, I'm going to give it a go, is once that cotton breaks, fish is on, the balloon would then go up my line so the fish can run 20 meters, 30 meters line out, and the balloon will be still up on the surface way back sort of that 20 meters, so I'm not sort of battling that balloon, and as I wind the fish in, it's just going through that swivel. So we'll give that a test, see how that goes. Hopefully we get a kingfish to test it on, and yeah, we'll just see how that goes, see how that pans out. Okay, it's taken a while, but my first kahawai are turning up in the burley trail. Basically what I've done is I'm just using a floating bait, no sinker, no swivel. They're pretty much coming up and grabbing stuff on the surface as well, bits of leaves and stuff, so the best way to do it is just have that floating bait, obviously back there in numbers. So I'm hoping I can hook into one. It's taken a while, it's taken about an hour for them to turn up. I actually had to move, there was nothing where I was, no yellowtail, wasn't even any kahawai, so I've shifted over to a little reef that should hold kahawai, and they've turned up here, so hopefully I get into one so I can get my livey out. Still got the burley going. That's the key ingredient, is your burley. Got to get that bait fish turning up, and then the kingies will hopefully follow. Yeah, got one. My first livey. Hopefully it's not too big. Now what I'm going to do is, normally I'd just grab that by the trace and try and lift it in, but because I'm pretty desperate for a livey, I'm going to net it. So just take your time, there's no rush. Might even get to see a kingfish turn up behind it or something. That's quite good, he's just lip hooked. Perfect. Just what I've been waiting for. And he's a nice size too. It's not too big. Perfect. So let's get him on the balloon. So I've got it rigged up, ready to go. Just running a big 9-baro recurve. We'll have a look at that later. And I've got another Okuma combo, and it's actually a Zora's 5500 reel on another concept rod. I do love those concept rods, they're real nice. If you're going to get yourself a nice rod, look at the Tournament Concepts. What you want to do is you want to make it so that barb is poking up, not down into the fish. So I'm going to bring it round, because kingfish is going to swallow it, hook's going to go backwards, and then hook's going to come up. So if I was to lie that way, the barb will be going downwards into the fish. You want that barb to come up. It's going to go in through the dorsal fin. And there you go, he's ready to go, he's ready to rock and roll. Let's get our first bait in. And I've got that balloon on that little rig. It's on its own swivel. So the plan is when something big grabs it, that balloon will pop off the main swivel that's on my trace, stay on its own little swivel and just run up that line. So it's out of the fight, but it's staying with me. It's not going to drift off, pollute the water. And the good thing is I can reuse that balloon if it doesn't pop. It's all ready to go. I just wind it up, tie it back with some cotton. So yeah, this is the little, it's actually a jigging combo. It's the 5500 Zoras. It's the new series, the blue series. And once again on that tournament concept, that's a 15 to 24 kilo. I like fishing a little bit lighter than normal, so I thought I'd just bring this out, use this for the top live baiting. And then I've got my other set. It's actually another Okuma set. That's the SLX 15 lever drag, so we'll look at that as well. That's on another concept rod. It's a real nice combo for live baiting. You can drop in the deep water, holds a heap of line, heap of braid. Just running 50-pound braid on both of them. So I've got my balloon out the back there. It's probably only about sort of 20 meters back, if that. Just want to keep it in that burley trail. I've got that burley still on the surface. There's been a lot of kahawai coming up, grabbing stuff off the surface, just leaves and stuff. So I want to try and keep that livey in that strike zone. This is where all the kahawai are going to be milling around real close. But yeah, he's sitting ready to rock and roll. Hopefully something grabs him, and I'll set up this other it's quite a big pull there on that line. It's a real nice reef, this area. It's quite reefy. I'm sitting quite far back off it, but the reef sort of comes out quite far, so don't want to get too close, catch something and get sort of busted off pretty quickly. So probably sitting in about 6 meters. But he's just going to swim sort of that back side of the boat, stay out of the way. This is the other combo that I was talking about. This is the SLX 15 lever drag. Great little reel for obviously live baiting for kings, but it holds a heap of line, so good for that deep water. What I do for this live baiting side of things is it's going to be on a sinker. So I've got about a 2 ounce sinker, 2 or 3 ounce, and what I'm going to do is, because I've got braid just straight off that clip, got my trace here, 120 pound, it's about 2 meters long. What I do is I've got one of those surgeon loop, the top there, and I'm going to thread my sinker on through the hole, comes out the other side, and then I'm just going to clip it on. Basic way, easy way. And what that does is that stops that sinker from going up and down your line or down to your livey, so it just stays there all the time. And then your livey's going to be on the other end, and that's just going to swim around freely, nice and free. Hopefully kingfish will come along. So yeah, that's pretty basic, pretty easy. Just sinker through the hole of that surgeon's loop, and then I've got it on my clip. And then this is the business area. Here's your SLX 15 lever drag from Okuma. Got it on that tournament concept, 6 foot. So perfect for live baiting, even a little bit of trolling. So we'll try and get a livey and get this one going as well. Just got a little yellowtail. Even though it's small, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap it over for that kahawai on the one that I've dropped down with the sinker. I like to have a little bit smaller bait and something else rather than 2 kahawai. So it's good that max are turning up. keep that burley going. Might catch some bigger ones and I'll just swap them over. But yeah, I'm gonna swap out that Kahawai for this little Jack Mac, and might even get into a nice little king, something a little bit smaller, around that 75-80 centimeters. Now the cool thing is, caught the little Mac there, and all I did was pull out the bung and bang, I've got my live bait gig going on. That's how good it is. These are great, these little FC live bait tanks. It's so easy. Pull that out, fills up with water instantly, chuck in your livies, and then when you want to get rid of that water, you just motor up, go forward, and it just drains out, and you put that back in. Basic, easy, does the job. So I'm going to swap that one out. Yeah, I'll get it onto that other rig. There you go, it's ready to go. And the great thing about using these smaller baits, you got a chance of John Dory or even a big snapper would come up and just swallow that easily. So that's why I like to fish those different baits. Well, kingfish haven't really turned up for me today, so I've started chucking in a few baits for some snapper to at least feel something on the line today. Just hooked into a little snap. Tide is just starting to come in, so just never know. Those kingfish could turn up. They can turn up at any time. And that's the thing when you go fishing for kingfish. It can be quite tiring and you want to give up, but the main thing I wanted to do today was to come out and just try for kingfish, not really snapper fish. But I've been here for about maybe 4 or 5 hours, haven't had one sight of a kingfish, but I've been fishing that outgoing tide, and last time I was here in the late evening and the tide was coming in, so you just never know. I might just hang in there. I've got that feeling I just want to go home, give up, but it's getting to that perfect time of day, that late evening, and I'm very reluctant to sort of pack up and head home. So I'm just going to have a bit of a snap fish, keep me interested in the fishing. It'll keep me here for a while, and you never know, might get a couple of nice snapper to take home anyway. But hopefully, fingers crossed, the kingy might turn up in that late evening. There you go. The kingfish haven't turned up to play ball, but I've got a John Dory on my little Mac there, and that's why I like fishing those different baits. I've got it, still got my Kahawai out there on the balloon, and I'm dropping the Mac straight down with the sinker. And as I was saying, if the kingfish don't turn up, you got a good chance for one of these. And there's actually snapper just starting to come on the bite as well. It's starting to get fishy. It's been real quiet for the past couple of hours, pretty much no snapper, and I've just starting to get a few little snappers, so I think things are looking up and we could be in luck with maybe even a kingfish in that evening. But yeah, that's a good score, got him on the Mac. Got them in the brain. Remember to icky your fish, all your fish you want to keep. A lot of times you catch a John Dory or a Kahawai and you just chuck it in the bin, but same difference with these fellas. Give them the icky in the head, don't just throw them in the bin. So I'm going to take this fella home for dinner. At least I've got dinner, and it was sort of plan B was the John Dory if the kingfish weren't turning up. But we've still got about 3 or 4 hours of light left, and I'll probably hang around for another couple of hours. Might get another Johnny and might get a kingfish, might get a nice snapper. Hooked up to another little snap, getting a little bit bigger. Still got that burley pumping, got that tide coming in, and it sort of rips around this corner, so got real nice current. That's why I think the kings sort of swim through here sometimes. But yeah, they're getting a little bit bigger, the snapper. Still not takeable, but here you go, little snap. Just on the side of the cheek. Only in about 5 meters of water, they'll go back, no problem. But yeah, it's starting to get real fishy. Sun's still quite high. I'd say maybe in the next hour some better snapper might turn up for me. I'll just keep that burley pumping and see what happens. Mate, oh, that was a good fish, real good, nice snapper. Oh mate, waiting all day and I dropped it. That was a real nice fish. Hooked up. Feels a little weird. Either maybe fell hooked. No, it's one of those carpet sharks again. We caught further down there. A little carpet shark. Dropped a real nice snapper, real solid, screaming line. And it's just horrible when you sort of fish all day and then the fish come on the bite and you hook a real nice fish. Felt real solid, you know, up double figures. It's just screaming, I couldn't stop it. And it just spat the hook. It's a bit of a bummer. We've got about an hour left, I'll do another hour. And we'll see what happens. But it was a bit of a bummer dropping that fish, that's for sure. Hooked up again on my little Mac. Hopefully another John Dory to take home. Yes, it is. Another Johnny for the bin. Well, there you go. Another Johnny for the bin. Pretty much going to call it a day. It's been a bit of a slow day. Not a lot of action for you guys. A couple of Johnnies for me. That's enough, you know, for dinner for the family. It's all about the kingfish today, but they just didn't turn up for us. Bit of a bummer. Was a bit of a long shot. Like I said, I only saw it about a month ago and it's still early in the season. I only saw the one and I just thought, hey, we'll come out and have a bash at it with the new gears as well. So not a lot of action, but hopefully you guys still enjoy it, and I'll enjoy these till next time. Tight lines. Thanks for watching another great day out fishing with Real Kiwi Fishing. And you can also find more of my movies on my YouTube channel, Real Kiwi Fishing.